recording. Okay. Good. Because in my hurry to start, I forgot about the screen sharing as well. All right, so I think before we start, let me just finish conducting the poll. Then we normally give 5 minutes to people. It's already 11:20, so I think we can assume that everybody's here. Let me finish conducting the poll, and then everybody hopefully has. Yeah, I'm going to launch the polling. Okay, so you guys have read the question already. I wanted to give you time to prepare. So please take a few minutes to answer. And remember, it's anonymous, so attendees are now viewing the questions. I will not see who is answering what, but I will be able to see if 100% don't answer. I'll show you the results later. I won't show you as they're going on because it might skew your answer. Okay, just the answer. The question looks a little odd. The end term doesn't become a multiple choice exam. That multiple choice is taken from the Zoom polling, okay? So the end term doesn't become a multiple choice exam. The end term remains a normal exam like you are doing now. So that will become 80%, or there'll be some quiz or something. There'll be some kind of written evaluation, which will be 80%, okay? So I think we have 35 people or something like that, or we'll just give it some time, and then once we have launched the polling, so far 31 have answered. I don't know how many people are here. Maybe some are here because we have been doing the poll for 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes now. How many people do we have? Let me just check while this is still going on. I'll just check. Where is the poll? Yeah, the poll is still here. Okay. I can just minimize the poll. And let me just see how many participants we have. Just call 3, 4, 5. Oh, those are double. People are showing in doubles. Okay, so I'm not going to waste my time counting all this. I'm just going to, poll is going on for 2.5 minutes. That's long enough. We'll give it 3 minutes, and after that, we'll just close the poll and take the results. So, because we can't have, so it says attendees are viewing questions. 32 people have answered out of 35, but we can clearly see that some people like Aman are attending through phone as well. So Aman is counted twice. So that 35, I think we can just ignore it. Okay, 3 minutes are up, guys. So we'll just end the polling now, and I'll show you the.
Sir, I only answered one only.
What happened? You're someone else also who is attending with double, right?
But I answered only one only, sir. Through one only.
Yeah. That's okay. No, I understand. I'm just saying that, like if there are 2 more people doing this like you, and then that'll show us extra 3 people. So we maybe actually have only 32 human beings attending, unique human beings, but it's showing as 35 because Aman is counted twice. That's what I was saying. Okay. So let me share the results with the students. I don't know how you guys see it. Yeah, you can see the poll results, and I can show it in the recording as well. So, okay. So the majority have said that we should have the project, so we'll continue with it. I was a little bit apprehensive because I found that many people are not doing much trading in the project. So I was a little concerned about that. whether it's worth it doing this way. So anyway, so we'll do it. Well, then in that case, we'll change. The content will remain as it was planned. Okay, so everybody's seen the results. It's also going to be captured in the video. So it's on your main screen. So it's going to, okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the results. So 84% have said to do the project. And so 16% have said not to do it. And so we'll have to do the project. So we'll stop this now. Hopefully nothing has stopped. All right, you guys can still see the screen, right? Synthetic market, you can see the synthetic market. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So this is part of our discussion. We are continuing our discussion of what we described as fair value models in finance. Okay, it's very important for you to understand the theoretical principles involved. And in this, we are going to continue. I think maybe what I should do is I should bring this here, and then later on I'll give you a separate note on fair value models. So that will take care of this. So these are all going to be, this will be separate. So these are all going to be included in our fair value model. So I'm going to bring it here, and we'll continue here. Okay. So so it will remain in your session notes, and then I'll separate it out into a separate file, which I've changed the viewing a little bit. So, all right, okay. So where were we? We were talking about, we had moved into this discussion of synthetic market after our discussion of arbitrage revaluation principles, etc. We have moved into the discussion of the synthetic market, and we were looking at this Nattenberg page 216. 216 in the book, which means 225 or something. You have to, this is the Hull book actually. Okay, let's look at the Nattenberg, 216 in the Nattenberg book. And we were talking about what he has called the synthetic market. Okay, so he has called this call price minus put price as he's calling it the synthetic market. And he is also making this other statement that the value of the synthetic market should be this, underlying minus excess strike. We'll call it strike because it's a shorter word than exercise. So we want to understand two statements that he's making. He's not explained them very well, so we want to make sure we understand this properly. This will help your conceptual clarity as well. So he's saying call premium minus put premium is synthetic market, and I have given you a clarificatory comment here, which is that he should have actually said synthetic underlying asset market. Okay, so it's the synthetic market for the underlying asset. And what I was trying to get at, and he's saying, is that the other statement that he's making is that this is equal to the synthetic market, and these two start statements we are trying to understand. So we had made some progress on the previous class. We had gone from writing this, which is the same thing as what he has written here, call minus put, underlying minus strike, call minus put, underlying minus strike. Okay, so the question is, why should this equal to this? And why should this be called the synthetic underlying asset market? So the first statement, let me just clarify. Okay, I don't remember whether I don't remember exactly whether I clarified this here. Why is this statement true? Okay. I shouldn't copy it. Why is the above statement true? Okay, why is call premium minus put premium equal to the synthetic underlying asset market? Now, if you remember, maybe we can go back as well, actually. Now, let's check with some people here. Now, call premium minus put premium. Call premium is, we are talking about the cash outlays, okay, as I've mentioned here. We are talking about the total cash outlays. Okay, we're talking in terms of cash outlays. So the first thing we want to understand clearly is, why is he saying this is the statement? Think about total cash outlay. Okay, so call premium. So this is basically these statements are about the total cash outlay, okay, here. So let's put it this way. LHS is referring to total cash outlay, okay? So call premium minus put premium is the total cash outlay. So if you have to put up the call premium as an outlay, can we assume that you're actually buying the call? Okay, so we can assume, because it's a total cash outlay, you're putting up the call premium means that this call premium, you're buying the call, and that's why you have to put up the cash outlay for buying the call. Minus put premium, you're not putting up the put premium, or your net total cash outlay is reduced by the put premium. That means you're selling the put. Okay, so therefore, okay, so LHS here is talking about total cash outlay of long call plus short put. Okay, is this point clear so far, what I'm trying to explain? Because this guy has made a couple of statements, okay? The difference between the call price and the put price is referred to as the synthetic market. And I have further clarified that statement by saying that he should have actually said not just synthetic market, but synthetic market for the underlying asset. Which underlying asset? The one which is referenced by these call and put options. Okay, so remember, options are a derivative product. So in every derivative product, there has to be an underlying market. And so the underlying market here is what is being referred to when he says synthetic market. So the first statement that we are trying to analyze and understand conceptually is, why did he make this statement? Why is the statement true? Because call premium minus put premium is the total cash outlay we are talking about. If your outlay includes the call premium, that means you have bought the call. And if your outlay is reduced by the put premium, that means you have sold the put. Is everybody with me so far? Anybody has any confusion about what I'm trying to explain here? Everyone okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So yeah, it's good to hear some affirmative voices, although I'm not asking anybody in particular. Okay, good. So now let me take you back to our discussion that we had in the previous course on synthetic equivalence, okay? When we first encountered the concept of synthetic equivalence, we went back. Now we can go back to the other node that we have. Or let me ask some people, okay? We already have these notes are still in your, I forgot to remove these notes, but even then it doesn't matter. Let's ask Gagan. Gagan, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Good, very good. I thought you were only with us in the spirit.
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, tell me, when you remember, if you go back to our discussion of our synthetic equivalence, if we have established that the LHS is talking about the total cash outlay of a long call plus short put, my question to you is, long call plus short put is the synthetic equivalent of what position? Is my question clear, Gagan?
No, sir.
Question is not clear?
No, please, sir.
No, I can't hear you.
Sir, it's not clear, sir.
It is clear.
So
So,
it's not clear, sir. I don't understand the question.
okay, your audio is also not clear, actually. So anyway, let me ask Kirtika. Kirtika, what is your view?
Yes, sir.
Is my question clear? If you go back to our discussion of synthetic equivalence, long call plus short is the synthetic equivalent of what position?
Hmm.
Clear to you?
Sir, I'm not sure.
My question.
Long call. Yes, the question is clear.
Okay, good. 1 minute. Let me see what we can do here. Um, just-
It's long and
yes, who is this? Who is answering?
Sambhavna.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Sambhavna.
Sambhavna. Okay, Sambhavna saying long underlying. Sachin has raised his hand. What is Sachin saying?
Sir, can you repeat the question again?
The question is the long call and the short put. Okay, is the synthetic equivalent of which position?
Not sure, sir. No, I don't know.
Not sure. Okay, two participants have raised their hand. Let's look at them. People with raised hands. One is double A. Okay, double A, what is your answer?
Sir, long underline.
Long underlying. Okay. So somebody else has raised their hands. Three have raised their hands. Who are the others? I can't see them. Okay, one is Gaurav, one is Nikita, and then Vipul. Let's go with Gaurav first.
The long underline.
Long underlying. Okay, just give me a second, please. This one is actually. Just give me a second. Okay. So, double A, Sambhavna has answered, double A has answered, and just give me a second. Okay, Gaurav has also answered. Four participants have raised their hands. Okay, let's go with Nikita. Yes, Nikita.
Sir, long underline.
Nikita has also said long underlying. All right, then we also had Vipul. Let's go to Vipul.
Yes, sir. Sir, long underline.
Vipul
LU.
Okay, everybody is long underlying. Okay. Who else do we have? Now we'll have to just close the questioning a little bit. Now Utsav is also here. Okay, Utsav, what is your answer?
Sir, same long underlying.
Long underlying. Mukul.
Sir, long underline.
Okay. Just give me a second, okay? Yeah, okay. So doing this also takes time. Right, okay. Let's see who else has raised their hand. Okay, so Vipul is done. Mukul is done. You can lower your hands now. We have Ketan. Yes, Ketan, what is your answer?
Sir, long underline.
Ketan is also saying long underlying. Okay. I think we'll close now because although yeah, it takes a lot of time to register all the responses. Okay, so one of the things you have understood, I think hopefully nobody else has raised their hand. There's a message in the chat. Okay, Aman has also answered. Okay, fine. So, all right. Okay. So strictly speaking, actually, I should just predictive models that we have here. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, so let's look at this. So this is basically, so after the discussion that you know, okay, so the answer is long underlying. Okay, so a long call plus short put is a long underlying. So that's why you understand why he has made this statement, because this is the left hand side is talking about the call, the cash outlay. Okay, so if you put up the call premium and you reduce that total outlay by the put premium, that means you're buying the call and selling the put. And as you remember, the synthetic long equivalence discussion, if you go back to that, then you know that this long call and short put is the equivalent of a synthetic long underlying. Okay, so that's why he's making this statement that the synthetic market, which is the underlying asset market, is equal to call premium minus put premium. Okay, so now he has made a second statement, which is here. He's made a second statement here, which is that the fair value, he's saying the fair value of the synthetic market is this. Now that's an additional statement, that's a stronger statement. He's saying that in order to avoid, now what is the meaning of the fair value of this? The fair value of the synthetic market, which he has defined in the LHS like this, the fair value is this, which means the implication of this being the fair value, the RHS being the fair value of the synthetic market, which is call price minus put price. This, as he's saying here, what is the meaning of that being the fair value? Okay, so he's actually talking about value here, but what he means is fair value. Okay, this is the fair value, which means if the price is equal to the fair value, there is no opportunity. There's here. What he's saying here, what he's actually saying, if you read this paragraph, there's no difference between taking a position in the underlying or taking a synthetic equivalent position. Okay, which means for our purposes, because we are discussing fair value models and the context of arbitrage and CRA, basically what this means is if this condition is satisfied, then there is no opportunity for CRA. There's no opportunity for CRA, and the price is at its theoretical fair value, and there's no opportunity for CRA. And so therefore, basically this is the meaning of something being priced at fair value. Okay, so let me make that statement here also, that when we go to the second statement, okay, let's put a little gap here. Yeah, so this is what we are trying to understand. He's saying that AFV, so this is what I'm saying. Here, AFV stands for arbitrage free valuation, okay? So the arbitrage free valuation, okay, for, we can even put this as fair value, arbitrage free value. The fair value arrived at by, when I say this kind, when I use this kind of terminology, what this means is the fair value arrived at by using the technique of arbitrage free valuation. The fair value for synthetic market should be this, what he's writing in the book here, okay, which is underlying minus strike. I've just used strike instead of exercise. Okay, so the question is, why should this be equal to this? First, let's understand the meaning of the statement. Okay, meaning is, okay, this statement implies that if equality holds, okay, it's important to understand the use of the language here in the market. How would you use the language in a market context when discussing it with other participants in the market? If equality holds, okay, then the okay, so the call premium minus put premium is equal to synthetic market is equal to underlying minus strike. Okay, if equality holds, then the synthetic market is priced at fair value, okay, implying no opportunity to make an arbitrage profit by doing CRA. Okay. And how would you have done CRA? You would have done CRA by doing what he's saying here. Okay. Either you take, remember how you do CRA, you go long and short the same thing in two different markets. One is the synthetic market and the one is the real market. So you would have bought the synthetic or sold the synthetic and then sold the underlying or bought the underlying together. So that's how you would have done CRA, and that opportunity does not exist. So if this equality holds, then the synthetic market, we say, the synthetic market is priced at fair value. Therefore, there's no opportunity to make an arbitrage profit by doing CRA. Okay, is this statement clear? Have you understood what we are saying here? So far, everybody with me? Any,
Yes, sir.
yeah, any problems? This is how the lingo is supposed to be used. Okay, synthetic market is priced at fair value. This is how we do it. Okay, so this brings out the difference between price, once again brings out the difference between price and fair value, which many people in the market as well don't often, there's a distinction that they don't maintain, which they should. That pricing is one thing. Pricing is done by the market, and it's always objective, and it's what you see in the market. Now, that price may or may not be at fair value. In the case of wherever we are discussing true AFV, like these option arbitrage relationships, these are all examples of true AFV, okay? So this is an example of true AFV, synthetic market. This example that he's giving, this is an example of true AFV. This is not fake AFV. So in cases of true AFV, we can actually make, where there is such a relationship, we can make the price converge to fair value by doing CRA. But in this case, if it is already priced at fair value, then there's no opportunity for arbitrage, okay? So this is the thing. Now the question is, why should RHS equal to LHS? Why should this be the fair value? Why should this be the fair value? Okay, think about this. Let's put it this way. Okay, so the statement is call minus put is underlying minus strike. Okay, call minus put is underlying minus strike. So in this case, we rewrite this as call minus underlying minus call premium minus put premium plus strike price is equal to underlying price. Okay, so here if you see, now here, what does the LHS now become? Okay, if I go long the underlying, so this is basically talking about the equivalence of cash outlays. Okay, if you see here, if I go long the synthetic, if I take on a synthetic long position in the underlying asset by buying the call and selling the put, so my total cash outlay is call premium minus put premium, because I bought the call, I sold the put. That's my total cash outlay. But what else do I have to do? So if I have bought the call at say 100, okay? You're talking about the 100 call and the 100 put, okay? So if I've gone long, there's some background noise, just ignore it, okay? So if I've gone long the 100 call and I've sold the 100 put, okay? Now, so I get a total income of $2. I have a total, not income, but total cash outlay of $2. Now, what else do I have to do? I have to, when it comes to the maturity of this, remember these are European options. The discussion is happening in the context of European options. So additionally, why have I put strike price on the left-hand side now? Because later on, when it comes to the maturity, okay, two things can happen. So let's go back to the example in the book, okay? Or we can write it out. Actually, I think if he has not mentioned, okay, he has not mentioned it here, but let's do the exercise here. He has mentioned it in other with the respect to other examples, but let's do this example. Okay, so I buy this call, the 100 call at 5. I sell the 100 put at 3. And I have a net outlay of $2. Now, let's also look at the total outlay on the left-hand side, okay? Now, what happens here, at expiry, two things can happen, okay? At expiry, you can have scenario 1. At expiry, you can have scenario 1 where let's say underlying is greater than 100. Okay, so we are referring to the example in the book on page, same page, I think 216. Okay, refer to first example on 215. Okay. Is it 215 or 216? It's 216. Okay. So page 216. Okay. This is the Nattenberg discussion. Okay. We'll write it as SN. Okay. So at expiry, you can have one scenario where the underlying is greater than 100, and you can have a scenario 2 where the underlying is less than 100. We are not including the scenario of underlying is equal to 100. Okay. So we are just leaving that out for, so it's less than 100. Okay, these are the two scenarios. Okay, at scenario 1, what happens is, see what I've done is here is I have bought the call and sold the put. So if the underlying is above 100, what will happen? Will I exercise the call?
Yes, sir.
I will exercise the call, right? Because there is intrinsic value in the call. The underlying price is above 100, so call is exercised. Exercise call. And what happens to the put? Does the put have any intrinsic value if the underlying is above 100?
No, sir.
Yeah, so the put has no intrinsic value. So put, we say the put expires worthless. This is the language of option trading. We say the put expires worthless. Okay, so that means I exercise the call. Exercise the call means pay 100 to buy underlying. I'm not even going to say stock because I don't want to make it more general than stock. The discussion is, in fact, anyway, in the book is with respect to a futures contract. So I'm not even going to make it that specific. So we'll just say underlying. It could be anything, okay? But the point is the strike is 100. So which means when I exercise, what is the cash flow implication of exercising? The cash flow implication is, we're not including brokerage and all that, but the cash flow implication is they got to pay $100, right, to buy the underlying. So that's why you see now I've rearranged the terms. You can see on the left-hand side, what we have is the net cash outlay of executing a synthetic long underlying position, and also, let's say, exercising and going through option exercise at expiry. Why am I saying this? Why am I using this peculiar language like going through option exercise at expiry? You'll see why I'm doing it. Why am I not saying exercising the option? Because in one scenario, you may not be exercising the option. Okay, so let's look at the second scenario, which is, so this we are talking about on the left-hand side now. I've written it the way I've written it, call premium minus put premium net plus strike price is the total cash outlay of executing a synthetic long underlying position and going through option exercise at expiry. Okay, so scenario 1 is underlying is greater than 100. In the case of scenario 2, where underlying is, in the case of scenario 2, we have what happens when the underlying is below 100. In this case, what happens?
So the put buyer will exercise the option.
Correct. The put guy will exercise the option, and what happens to the call?
It will expire
Worthless.
The call will expire worthless. Very good. So the call expires worthless, and the put is remember, I am a seller of the put, so I have sold the put. Okay. So this is a long call and short put position. So I have sold the put. So the guy holding the put will expire the put against me, will exercise the put against me. So therefore, what we say is call. Let's write this. Let's copy a little bit here. We say that the call expires worthless and put exercise. We will put this as call expires worthless and put is exercised against put seller, which is the guy whose cash outlay we are computing on the left hand side. Okay, the put is exercised against put seller. Okay, so in this case what happens is put is exercised if this implies what? When the put is exercised against me, what does that mean? That I have to buy the stock at 100. Correct? You understand that? Put is exercised means even though the underlying is scenario 2, underlying is below 100, but the put is exercised against me because I sold 100 put. Okay, so even if the underlying is at 80 or 65, I still have to contractually I'm obligated to buy the underlying at 100. So when the put is exercised against me, what is the implication for my cash flow? The guy exercises the put. I have already received the premium earlier. Okay, so my part of the consideration for this contract was already received earlier when I got the put premium, which I sold to him. Now he's extracting his part of the consideration, his side of the consideration, which is he is forcing me to buy something which is worth 65 at 100. Okay, so which means he sells me the underlying asset. So the exchange that will happen here is that he sells me the underlying asset and I have to sell him $100. Is this clear? Which means, once again, can you see that whether I am exercising the call or whether the put is exercised against me, in both cases I have to pay $100. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in both cases I have to pay $100 to buy the underlying. Okay, this is the implication of this. So in both cases, so what we see therefore, and we are ignoring the case of where underlying is equal to 100, okay, for the sake of simplicity. But the point is that we have rewritten this expression in such a way that on the left hand side you have a situation where in both cases, if you do this, okay, if you take on this position, in both cases you will end up buying the underlying at 100. Okay, you will be putting up 100. So your net outlay is this plus this. This might reduce by the put premium. You do this synthetic long underlying position and then you wait till expiry. And either way, you will go long the underlying at 100. So you need to put up the cash outlay for $100. Okay. So therefore, what you have, so the point is here in this kind of a arbitrage free valuation, theoretical setup, what this means is, since this combination, basically, this is the total cash outlay involved. Okay, in taking an underlying long position. Okay. This must be equal to the underlying price. And remember, these are European options. So when we discuss underlying for European options, I should write this as a point. Again, this is not mentioned in the book. But when we discuss, let me write that as a general statement at the beginning. Remember, European options can only be exercised when? European style.
Yes, sir, at expiry.
At expiration, right? So when discussed European style, usually people, forget to say style because just for, reduce the number of words. But European options, well, actually, when they say European options, what they mean is European style of exercise, European style options. Okay. The correct underlying asset, okay, the correct underlying instrument, actually, okay, underlying asset, but really as an instrument, okay. Here the language is not very good. The correct underlying asset or instrument to refer to, okay, let me write it this way, is the forward or futures contract. Okay. You want to refer to the forward or the futures contract because remember, European style options you can only exercise at expiration. So the correct underlying that you must refer to for discussing European style options is actually the forward price or the futures price. You can't refer to the spot price because the spot price is talking about a settlement date which is just 2 days from the contract date. Whereas this European style option might be like a 3-month option or a 9-month option. So the correct underlying is actually not the spot. The instrument that you should refer to for any market is not the spot, it's the forward or the futures. You haven't studied either of these instruments in detail, but these are more or less economically quite similar. There are some cash flow differences, but either forwards or futures. That's why you see in this discussion he has talked about futures, okay? And we can talk about forwards in general because it is much cleaner actually. The forward cash flows are much cleaner. So the point is that this is the forward that you have to refer to when we are talking about underlying for the European style options. The correct reference to the instrument, the underlying asset instrument, okay, or the underlying market instrument combination. The instrument should be a forward or a futures because it's not a spot, it's the forward or futures because these options can only be exercised at maturity. And that maturity is the forward or the futures. You should take the same. So if it's a 3-month European option, then you should refer to the 3-month forward or futures. If it's a 6-month option, you should refer to the 6-month forward or futures. So the reason for that is you haven't seen, let me just try and call up let me call up a display of futures prices. Let me see if I can get the crude oil futures display. Actually, I don't need to get it from bar chart. You can get it from, let's see if we can get it here. You'll see. So the point here is basically the reason you need to be particular about referring to the forward or the futures contract is because the prices in general will differ from the spot. Okay, so the prices will differ. So that's why you have to make sure that you refer to the proper underlying, which is the futures contract or the forward contract. So these quotes are loading. I'll just show it to you once so you get an idea. Yeah, so let's look at this. So here you can see crude oil futures contracts. This is the West Texas Intermediate crude oil, which you will be trading in your project in this course. So you look at the cash price of crude oil is $48.30. These are last prices, a little bit delayed. So you see the cash price, which is kind of like, as you know, it's here when they say cash, it's not really value cash, but it's the cash market price as opposed to the futures prices, which are derivative prices. So it is basically like a spot delivery or T+2 or T+3 kind of delivery. Okay, so you can see here the price is $48.30. But if you're talking about, and these are roughly the delivery months, okay? So if you're talking about, say, April 21 delivery, that's a different price, okay? If you're talking about August 21 delivery, that's a different price. So these prices are all different, okay? So therefore, that's why it's important to understand important to use the correct underlying asset and the correct underlying instrument as well. So if you're talking about crude oil options for December 21, okay, then the correct underlying, if you're talking about futures options for crude oil for December 21, then the correct underlying is to look at the futures contract for December 21. You don't look at this one. You look at this one because these options, European style options, can only be exercised at maturity. So therefore, if we are discussing European style options, therefore the correct reference for the underlying is the corresponding futures or forward contract. Okay, is this point clear to everyone? This is not clearly spelled out in the book, but he has made a reference to European options at the beginning of the chapter. If you look at the beginning of the chapter, is everyone clear about this? Any questions at this point? What I explained here, European style options, the correct reference for the underlying instrument is to the forward or futures contract. Any questions? Okay, so I assume that everybody has understood. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so what did I say here? Yeah, so we are trying to understand why his statement is correct. In either case, okay, if I go long the synthetic underlying by buying the call and selling the put, then I wait for expiry, and at expiry I go long. I have to buy the underlying at 100 in either case. Okay, so the total cash outlay is put up this net amount. In this example, it's $2. It's $2 here. And then I pay $100 to buy the underlying. So my total outlay is, so this is the same as basically taking this 100 to this side. So the total outlay will be $2 plus 100 is 102, and then RHS is also 102. So the point here is that if this is the total cash outlay involved in taking a synthetic long position, first by putting on the option equivalent synthetic long, and then by eventually going long through the exercise, by going through the option exercise process, okay, then that total cash outlay cannot be different for if I take the synthetic route, which is the LHS, as compared to if I take the direct route, which is the directly going long the underlying. Okay, if I buy it forward, if I buy the forward contract at 102 here, if I buy the forward contract or the futures contract at 102 here, then I will take delivery at maturity at this price. So my way of taking, so the point is that at maturity, if we are talking about this maturity, let's say we're talking about October 21 crude oil futures. Okay, so if I want to buy crude oil for October 21, I can buy it directly in the market by going long the futures contract at 47.79, which will ensure essentially that at this maturity, I will effectively, more or less with some interest and cash flow differences, but essentially, if we assume that these were actually forward prices, it would become much cleaner. Okay, let's assume these are forward prices. So if I have a forward here, I have two options. I can either go long if I want to get crude oil in my hands in October 21. I can either buy the forward contract, okay, which means essentially that I will get, the contract is concluded today, but the settlement will happen October 21. And so in October 21, I will pay this amount per barrel, and I will receive whatever number of barrels I agreed to buy. Okay, so the total cost will be 47.79 into the total number of barrels. That's one way of buying these oil, this amount of oil in October 21. Another way of buying that amount of oil is, sorry. Another way of buying this amount of oil is, as he says here, to do it through the synthetic route. Buy the call, sell the put, take a synthetic long underlying, and then also eventually at expiration, go through the exercise and go long the underlying. Okay, in either route, you have the same result. okay, you have long position. Through either route, you have the same result, which means you have a long position for October 21 at 47.79. At this maturity, you are able to go long crude oil at this price. Okay, so therefore, what they are saying is, since the net result is the same in both, this is one of the ways in which you think in finance. This is why we are having all these discussions about arbitrage revaluation. You need to understand this way of computing fair value and looking at possibilities of arbitrage. Okay, which is that if there are two routes to arrive at the same result, then the cost of the two routes must be the same. If they're not, and one is cheaper, then we will buy the one that is cheaper and sell the one that is more expensive. Okay, so he's given you an example here. Straight away has given you an example here, but we'll come to that. But first, understand this principle here. The principle is that there are two ways to arrive at the same result. Creating a long position for October 21. Okay, I think the price just changed a little bit. It was 79 or something, and now it's gone down a little bit. Okay, so so you can see there are two ways to do it. Either you go long directly through the futures, or you go long by creating in this case we are calling it forwards. Okay, we are referring to them as forwards. And either you buy the thing directly in the forward market, or you create a synthetic long by going long the call and selling the put, and then going through option exercise and putting up the amount of money that is involved in the strike price in going long the underlying at the strike price. So both ways you end up with the same result. So the cost of the two routes should be the same. Otherwise, there's an arbitrage opportunity. We will sell the one which is lower priced and buy the one which is, we will buy the one which is lower priced and sell the one which is higher priced. So you can see this example. So far, have you understood any questions about what we are saying about the theoretical principle? Is it all clear? Okay. So the point is that why should RHS equal to LHS? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Directly buying underlying. Okay. So U/L, if I write underlying, is okay. Okay. Everyone will understand we are discussing underlying now. Underlying or synthetically buying underlying. At expiry. So the two, both routes, okay? Directly buying underlying for forward delivery, okay? Forward delivery means, I hope you guys are all familiar. This is all notes which were given to you earlier, which you had to do, which was in your, if you remember. If you're getting a little confused, please revise this note. I'll show you which one. Transactions as contracts to exchange assets, then transaction dates and settlement dates. Okay, so you can do a transactions, all transactions can be done today, but the settlement dates need not be the same. Some can be T+2, T is the transaction date, that is your spot transaction. You can have, as you can see here, you can have so many different maturities in the future, okay? Here, transaction and settlement, the difference is, we are going to assume that these are forward prices, okay? In futures, there's a different kind of settlement, so I want to assume that these are forward prices for crude oil. You can enter into a contract today to do Jan 22 crude oil, okay, 47.29. So you buy crude oil for January 22 delivery at 47.29. So the contract is concluded today. Your obligations are crystallized today. If you breach the contract, you can be sued. Okay? Please be clear about that. The contract is concluded today. That's why we say transaction date versus settlement date. Transaction date is today. Your contractual obligations are crystallized on the transaction date as soon as you complete the contract. Offer and acceptance, properly accepted, properly offered. Okay, there is consideration. Then it's a valid agreement, enforceable agreement. It's a contract. And now, as far as the settlement is concerned, well, that could be anything. It could have been August 21. It could have been April 21. In this case, you guys chose Jan 22. That's fine. So on Jan 22, the exchange of assets will take place. Remember that if you go back to this theory, you will see that here, what is a transaction? A transaction is a contract to exchange assets. This is, you read all these notes here, okay? These are, you can read up on it and revise. You're supposed to have done all this on your own. And it's a transaction is a contract to exchange assets. So if you're contracting to exchange assets, that means eventually you have to discharge your obligations under the contract and exchange the assets. Okay? So that's what happens on the settlement date. So obligations are crystallized on the transaction date today, but the actual exchange happens on the settlement date, which is here. The exchange happens. The two assets are crude oil and US dollars. You will give US dollars and you will receive crude oil. That is the exchange that happens. Okay, so this is what is meant by a forward contract. It's the settlement date is greater than T+2 or T+3, and it could be, as you can see in the case of crude oil, it goes all the way. Look at how far the crude oil futures trades. It goes all the way up to here. Okay, there are still trades happening even here. So even April 29, it's almost like 10 years worth of contracts going on. Okay, so in fact maybe we might actually have more maturities trading. But anyway, you can see that you can see how far out the futures contracts go, especially in a liquid product like crude oil. So this is what is the point that we were trying to make here, that directly buying underlying for forward delivery. That's what I mean here. Directly buying underlying for forward delivery is one route. Let's make it very clear. Put the two things separately. Okay, these are the two routes. Okay, both routes have the same outcome in all scenarios. Therefore, both routes must involve the same cash outlay or cost. Otherwise, there will be an opportunity for making arbitrage profits by doing CRA. Okay, you have to be careful to use the word CRA because we are not talking loosely about arbitrage like the people in the market do. We are actually talking about real arbitrage, which is classical riskless arbitrage. Okay, so there will be an opportunity for doing that. And let's see now, any questions at this stage? Okay, so this is the principle. It's important to understand these principles because this is new for you guys. So you're encountering these ideas for the first time. So make sure you understand. These are common sense ideas, but still happening in the context of different kinds of scenarios like forward contracts and stuff. So European style options. So now let's look at a situation where the price here, if it's like this, then we say the price of the synthetic market is at fair value. This is the fair value. Okay, the price is at fair value. Otherwise, let's see what happens when there's a otherwise kind of scenario. I think I've tried to set this up in your winter calc. Yeah, is it the same thing? It's 495 and 305. Okay, so I get 495, 305. Okay, so it doesn't matter. We'll see. I think I'll try to show something else here. 495, 305. We'll look at this. Okay, so here you see what happens. Let's put it in the way that we have put it. Okay, so let's maybe put some rows in here. 5 rows above, and let's go for this. And we do a different kind of calculation. Okay, this is actually not happening on 23rd December. Maybe I should actually leave this untouched and copy it down here. Today is actually 29 December. Okay, so let me copy this from here and put it down below here. And let's see here. Okay, so let's give a little bit of a gap and let's talk about the example in the book, which is 495 and 305. Okay, so let's say 495 and 305, and the underlying is at 102. Okay, so I have, let me see the cost of the synthetic long. I won't get a spelling check here in the spreadsheet. Okay, synthetic long. If I want to do synthetic long, that is, I go long the cash outlay, I go long the call, I have to pay 495, I sell the put, I receive 305. Okay, and that's my net outlay. So maybe we should put a bracket there just to show. Okay, and then I also have the underlying price. So let's put this here. And then I have the underlying price, which is 102. And so my total cost is, let's write it here, which is this plus this. Okay, which is nothing but the same thing we laid out here. That, where did I write that? Yeah, I have rearranged this here, this equation. This is an important equation here to understand. That cost of synthetic long position plus actually putting on the actual, converting that into an actual long position at expiration. By going through the exercise process, you have to put up the strike price because you end up going long at the strike price. So the total cash outlay is going to be at 495, 305 is 190, and then you have the 102, which is the sorry, I got the wrong one. The strike should be 100. Okay, it's not 100, 102. It should be this one. All right, so 101.90 is what it costs me on the LHS, the total synthetic long cost. Okay, and what is this? The direct long cost. Direct long cost is whatever the underlying is. Okay, right, which is, let's put it here. Okay, so synthetic long is 101.90, direct long is 102. So which one should we buy and which one should we sell?
So buy synthetic.
Buy synthetic, very good. So we have to buy synthetic, and we have to, then because we are doing CRA, if you are buying the same asset in one particular market, instrument combination, you have to sell it in the other side on the other side, or if you're selling on one side, you have to be buying, because the net goal is not to end up with a position. If you buy and buy, then you have a position. You will sell and sell, you have a position. You got to buy here, sell there. So you have a no net position. All you have is the money in your pocket. Okay. So you buy the one which is lower and you sell the one which is higher. Okay. So then you can capture the profit. So in this case, you can see clearly what will happen. This is what he has talked about in the book, that there is an opportunity to make money. Okay. Here. Okay. Here the synthetic is cheaper. The synthetic side is basically the side where you have the long call and short put. That's the synthetic long underlying, and it's called the synthetic market, which is the direct market. The underlying market here is referred to as the direct. Okay. I don't know if he has used the direct. Oh, he has talked about the real equivalent. Okay, so I would call it the direct market. One is direct and one is synthetic. Okay, so here you can see obviously synthetic is cheaper, and that you understand, and therefore you go along the synthetic. So what you do is you buy a call, you sell a put. Okay, you have a total outlay of 1.9, and you decide here. Why am I getting a message saying these are some messages which are coming up? Okay. Set up professional audio and audio setting. I don't know if these are Zoom messages or whatever. One second. Just hold on, guys. I'll just give me a minute. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we go back to our discussion, 101.90 and 102. So we buy the one which is cheaper and we sell the one which is more expensive. The synthetic here is buy call, sell put, wait till expiration, and end up going long at the underlying price. Okay, so this is how you make arbitrage. So what will happen again, once again, understand the price convergence theory. This is the same as what we said here. The same logic, okay? We see that, what do we see? Here, we see that the synthetic market is here, the synthetic market on the right-hand side, the underlying asset market, okay, which is 102, but the value of the synthetic long underlying is cheaper. So therefore, we say that the market price, okay, when you're looking at this side, is lower than the fair value, okay. If this fair value should have been actually been 102, but it's actually, it should have been 2, but it's 190 here in this case. So therefore, we will make sure that we can actually solve our decision problem of, if you go back to this problem, fair value versus price, we are still employing this paradigm in this box, AFV. Okay, so all option here basically are all option arbitrage relationships. Okay. Option arbitrage relationships. These are all, although option valuation models, the option valuation models are fake AFV because they assume that the volatility is known when it's actually not known. Okay. But once you have option prices in the market, the option arbitrage relationships, these are not fake AFV. These are true AFV because option and underlying, okay? We should write it like this. These are all, I'll just make it ARB relationship so that it fits in the view. It doesn't overlap and spill over into that. Okay, so ARB relationships. So these kinds of option and underlying ARB relationships that we are studying now, these are all examples of true AFV. Okay, so the same thing, it still falls under this paradigm. What are you doing? You're looking at something, you're saying, is there a synthetic fair value? And then can I compare the actual price to the synthetic fair value? Okay, and therefore I compare the price of the synthetic equivalent and the actual price. I see if I can execute the arbitrage. And then this is how I make, eventually the price will converge to the fair value. How will that happen? If you look at this, what will happen? As people keep buying the underlying synthetic long, as people keep buying the synthetic long, there is excess demand in this market. Okay, so what are people doing? They're actually buying calls and selling puts. As they keep buying calls and selling puts, call prices tend to rise, put prices tend to fall. Okay, because they're selling puts, so excess supply in the put market, put prices go down. Excess demand in the call market, call prices go up. As they go up, okay, these two tend to come together. So this gap reduces, okay? So therefore, basically, you end up with a situation where the gap goes back to, your gap returns to a parity situation where your synthetic long market will equal the actual direct market. Whereas in the direct market, as what happens is, people are selling in the direct market. So this price will tend to go down. So these two prices eventually will converge. Okay, so this is basically what's going to happen. And this, of course, remains the same, the strike price. So this is how, as you buy something, the price goes up. As you sell something else, the price goes down. And that's how the prices converge. So this is the convergence of these two prices. Okay, so here, this is our notes that we were using. So this is one point that I wanted to emphasize. So now you understand why the fair value of the synthetic market is what it is. Okay. So this is the second point to understand. Okay, so once we have understood this, then we can go on to one more example that we should do. These are, now it's very easy to understand. Conversions and reversals, very easy to understand. You've already done it. So page 217, just the next page, but you should understand these terms, okay? You should understand these terms. Let's look at the book. It's important to understand this. Now that you understood what is synthetic longs and direct longs, okay. There is one more statement here which we should understand here clearly, because this is again important to clarify your concepts about options. You notice he has made a statement here. The reader may have noticed that synthetic and real markets will be the same when the time value of the call and the time value of the put are identical. Okay, let's write the statement and try to understand this. There's a third statement that I want you to understand. Okay, three important statements, which I think we should this statement, and these are the three statements that we want to understand a little better. And we should put a little this. We can put this. This is not important, but this part is important, that Put it from here to here fully. That this is the one. This is the one. Yeah. And there's a third statement that we want you to understand clearly that will clarify your concepts about options, about these relationships, which is very good for your understanding. The synthetic and real markets will be the same when the time value of the call and the time value of the put. This is page, which page is this? 216, okay. Page 216, this is almost the last para, is it? No. Okay. Page 216 again. So, that means basically synthetic market is priced at fair value. This is the statement that we want to get used to, this kind of language. Okay, let me put this in brackets. That is synthetics and fair, this is at fair value. When the time value of, I'm not writing perfect English, the call, it should be the call and put are same, are the same, should be the same. This should be read as when the time value of the call and the time value of the put are the same. Okay, now this is a statement that he has made. We should understand the statement and it will help us in our theoretical understanding again. Okay, let's try to understand this. I hope the color doesn't spill over. Let's treat once again. Why is he making this statement? What is the statement? This. Okay. This is the statement. Let's write it without the colors. This is what he's talking about. This is what he's saying. So he's saying that this will hold when the time value of the call and the put are the same. Is that what he's saying? Yeah, when the time value of the call and the time value of the put are identical. Okay, let's see why he's saying that. Now, let's put this here. Let's rewrite this in another way, which is like this. We already have this in the clipboard. Let's take the put premium to this side and let's put this like this, underlying price minus strike price. Okay. So let's take the underlying to this side, okay? And let's take this whole thing to this side, underlying price minus strike price. Okay. So minus underlying minus strike. So let's take this side to this thing to this side. The brackets are actually the wrong type of bracket. Maybe we should put this, this should not be underlying. Actually, this should be. Okay. Okay, so if we rearrange it like this, okay, because this, if it goes to this side, we'll have a minus, which will have a minus here. This, if it goes side to this side, would be a plus. It will have a plus if you open this bracket, okay? So we can rewrite this, put this whole thing in brackets, and push this to left side to the LHS, and put this guy to the right side, okay? So we rearrange this to write it like this, call premium minus, so in this case for actually creating visual parity, we should have this, and this should be just like this. All right. Okay, so everyone with me so far? Yeah, no problems? Okay. Now, we are trying to understand what is he saying. Why should the time value be the same? Okay, now look at this. Imagine this is positive, okay? Now, what does this remind you of? This underlying price minus strike price in the context of time value, intrinsic value. Does this remind you of anything? You guys answered it in the exam. What is this thing?
Intrinsic value.
Yeah, the intrinsic value of what?
Intrinsic value of an option.
Yeah, so actually, so here what you have to understand is basically this. Yeah, actually, we have not done the transposing properly. I think. See, this is the intrinsic value of what option?
Call option.
Call option. Yeah. So if you have this as if you have the call option, the call premium minus the intrinsic value of the call option will be equal to what? The call premium minus the intrinsic value of the call option is equal to what?
Time value.
Yeah, so it will be the time value of the call option. So the time value of the call option will be equal to the time value of the put option. That's what he's trying to say here. If this is positive, then the put option will not have any intrinsic value. If the call option has intrinsic value, then the put option is the same strike, as you can see here. The put option is the same strike. We're talking about the same strike. Both of them are the same strike, right? So if the call option has a positive intrinsic value, then the put option will not have any intrinsic value. Okay, it will have a zero intrinsic value. So the entire put option premium will be equal to the time value of the put option. So that's what he's saying, that the this is the statement that he's making here. That here, that the time value of the two options are the same. Okay, that's when you have the parity between the synthetic and the real markets. And if there's any departure from this, then you will have opportunities for arbitrage. Okay, so this is the third statement here. And there's one more thing here which we should understand. You can read this in the book itself. There's an important relationship. This, you can see here, underlying is call minus put plus exercise, which we already showed you earlier. Okay, we just flip down the right hand side and the left hand side. Okay, so you can rewrite this as here, underlying plus put, okay, minus exercise. Okay, and therefore the put price in terms of the call price. Okay, this is basically called this is another important term to understand, which is put call parity. Okay. What is put call parity? Put call parity is one more example of an arbitrage relationship involving options and underlyings. Okay, this is true.
Noise. नहीं.
What happened? Somebody's
बस ये baby sound और बना लो.
who is not on mute? Who is?
Sir, please mute yourself.
Ava has to be on mute. Okay. All right. So the idea is that this is an important term to understand. Put call parity. This is nothing but that it's a statement that the relationship on the put and the call are connected by this kind of a relationship. Okay. So as I told you, when you do option pricing, the option valuation models, they actually throw out the price of the call option, and then the put option price is derived by using put call parity. So what is that put call parity? It's a relationship which says this, that the put price should be equal to the call minus the underlying plus the exercise, okay, plus the strike price. Okay, this is not adjusted for interest payments, time value of money. This we have to adjust this later on for actual pricing. We have to adjust this by using the time value of money considerations. Okay. So once we do that, then we have the right relationship. But even without assuming that interest rates are all zero, then we can write this statement here that this kind of a relationship, that put price is equal to call minus underlying plus strike. So this is basically what you call put call parity, which is that there must be parity between the price of the put and the call according to this relationship. Okay, this is a true example of true AFV. So this is another thing that you can understand here, which you can, there's a reference to put call parity even in the Hull book, but I think it's better to understand it from this book because it is less, it's not so mathematical, it's more logical. Okay, so we'll stop it here. 1 minute. All right. Okay, so we'll discuss. Have you guys all received your textbooks, guys? Have you all received the textbook?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not use much of it, but see, we'll refer to it. And so please, for your next session now, we need to briefly spend some time on the on OTC markets because we need to understand futures contracts. So please make sure you read these notes, guys, from your notes file here. Please read these notes. OTC, all these four. Please make sure you read all these, okay? And if you have not read some of the other earlier ones, you have to read those as well, otherwise you'll get confused. But please make sure you read these, and then I'll give you some additional readings from the textbooks. But at least initially you read these notes, OTC markets, mechanics of markets, OTC versus exchange traded, okay? Please do that, and then we'll continue with this in the next class. All right, so class is dismissed, and you guys can leave.
Sir,
Yeah.
in this discussion, we are assuming that the synthetic and the underlying or the original option, they both will have the same cost, no? We will not have any advantage over the difference of prices in both of them.
No, so he's saying that, so the relationship we are talking about is that this relationship has to hold, otherwise there's an opportunity for arbitrage. Because here, for instance, if you see that the this call minus put is nothing but the cost of going long synthetic, creating a synthetic long underlying position through options by buying the call and selling the put, okay? So if you buy the call, you pay $5. You sell the put, you receive $3. Okay, and then you have a net outlay of $2. You add to that the cost of going long. When you go through the exercise process, you end up having to pay $100 to get hold of the stock of the underlying. Right? Are you following so far?
Yes, sir.
So your net outlay is 102. If we move this here.
Yes, sir. That is what I'm saying, that we don't have any opportunity to have some more profit because of synthetics. It would be equal.
If this relationship holds, but what if it doesn't hold, like this one? In this case, you can go long the underlying at 101.90 synthetically.
Yes, sir. And sir, one more question.
Yeah.
We were discussing about the fair value.
Yeah.
Of the market. So how will we know that it is the fair value? If this relationship holds true, the above one relationship holds true, then we can say that it is at a fair value.
Yeah. So if the, like here we would say it's at fair value. You can write it either way. Okay. We can go back to this guy's way of writing it. Okay. Or I have written it as this minus this. Basically, he has also written it down below like this. Here he has written it like this, but down below he has written it like this. That call minus put plus exercise. Okay, same thing. So he has written it here like this. So I think we have to just go back to this. I can't get rid of this blue thing. But anyway, so yeah. So you can write it like this. So anytime this relationship does not hold, like here, now he has given two examples where it does not hold, okay? So on the left-hand side, if you see the call price minus the put price, that we say we call that the synthetic side, okay? Because that's how you create a synthetic long underlying, by buying a call and selling the put. That's how you create a synthetic long underlying. Okay, so call price minus put price. That side we are calling. Just hold on. Just all right. Sorry. Yeah. So what was I saying here? So here we can see now he has given two examples where this is a case where it's working, and he has given two examples where it's not working. In the sense the parity is not there. Okay. So in either case, one side is more expensive or one side is cheaper. So we refer to the side that is talking about the call minus put price. We call this the synthetic side. Okay. And that's why I moved this to this side, so that the whole cost of going long the synthetic is shown on the LHS. And the underlying price directly is the cost of directly going long the underlying. So the two, if they are the same, then you have no opportunity for CRA. But if they're not the same, then you have an opportunity for CRA. Like here, you see the synthetic side is cheaper, so you buy that and you sell the direct. And here, the synthetic is more expensive and the direct is cheaper, so you buy direct and sell synthetic. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the point, that you first figure out basically the idea, the thinking is like this, that initially you see for any position, long underlying, short underlying, whatever, okay, you try to see theoretically, is there a theoretical synthetic equivalent? Like long call plus short put, theoretically, yes, is synthetically equivalent to a long underlying. So once you know that there is a theoretical synthetic equivalent, that's your first step. In every situation, there may not be a synthetic equivalent. In every market instrument combination, there may not be a synthetic equivalent, okay? Because that synthetic equivalent has to be something that is actually trading. It's not something that exists in your mind. Here, both are actually trading. This one is also trading as a futures contract. This is trading as options, okay? So these are all trading real prices in the market. You can see the prices, you can trade on them. So it has to be something like this. So in this kind of setting, is there something that is there as a synthetic equivalent? Theoretically, is there a synthetic equivalent? And then you observe the prices of the two. Is the synthetic equivalent price the same as the direct price? If it's not, then you can do CRA. Otherwise, we say that the market is priced at its fair value. Are you following?
Yes, sir. Now got it, sir.
So this is the idea. So this is an important concept which we have spent 2 days covering, but it's very important to understand in understanding finance. This whole concept of fair value and arbitrage-free valuation, and how to arrive at fair values using arbitrage-free valuation in certain cases, and why in the case of options we say that it's not really arbitrage-free valuation, because they assume that the vol is known, but the vol is actually not known. So there is no way to do any real arbitrage free of market risk. When you do this arbitrage, if you buy an underpriced call option or undervalued call option, which you think, that's actually not free of market risk. Whereas these transactions, these are all free of market risk. The examples he has given here, these are all free of market risk. So these are all true AFV. So this process of valuing, of arriving at fair value using arbitrage-free valuation techniques, that is, looking at a synthetic equivalent, what is the cost of the synthetic equivalent? This is a very important concept in finance. So hopefully you guys have understood the concept here. So this is an important learning, and then we'll move on now. We have to understand futures contracts, because we have spent a lot of time on options, but it's all useful for a finance student. Right now, we'll start moving into futures contracts, futures and forwards. Okay.
Sir, what significance does this topic has else apart from the arbitrage arbitraging opportunities, because we learned this in FDRM also in the last two classes. Sir, apart from this, and sir, we also learned about put call parity, but sir, what's the significance of learning this?
No, so did we cover this in FDRM also? I didn't realize we had covered it in FDR. I thought we were covering it for the first time. This.
No, sir, in the last two classes, we
Yes,
did
sir.
it a little bit. I mean, the gist was this only, that the arbitraging opportunities exist because the synthetic equivalent, you may get a synthetic equivalent at a lower price than the underlying price. So then you can have a riskless profit there.
Okay, fine. So if that was already mentioned, then it's a repeat in that sense. Okay, I didn't realize, I thought I had not spent enough time on it. So that's why I've spent a little bit more time here explaining. But I did not refer to, I don't think I referred to this Nattenberg book and these particular examples, did I?
No, sir. No,
Sir,
sir.
you
No.
refer to the book, but not the examples.
Yeah. So I had asked you guys to read the book, but I wanted to go through these specific examples so that you understand in greater detail, because this concept is very important. So I wanted to spend more time on it. That's all. Otherwise, the
Okay.
concept is the same. Whatever I would have discussed in FDRM is the same. I didn't realize that we had discussed. Maybe I should have gone back and seen to what extent I had covered it. Yeah.
Sir, we did this, but we didn't do the forex part much. Like you told us that there are complications because of the bid and offer price there
Yeah.
when we deal in foreign exchange.
Yeah, so foreign exchange, I think we did in the first class in IFM. We did that in the first class in IFM, remember? When we went to this.
Yes, sir, we did that same in the FDRM class as well.
Yes, sir. But sir, we didn't advance further there, because you said that there would be much more complications because of the in FDRM all class you refer to the mid
We
price.
did foreign exchange in FDRM. So I was just continuing from there actually. Yeah. So I understand why you're asking this question. I mean, I was only trying to show you that. So we discussed this. This topic was started in FDRM. Okay. This topic of arbitrage free valuation, synthetic equivalence is all started in FDRM. But I showed you the example of foreign exchange cross rates. Okay. Without assuming, by assuming that all bid and offer prices are all the same. These are all choice prices. We assume that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So here, all I'm doing is I'm actually continuing. So you're correct to understand that this is the same topic. Yes, I'm actually extending the topic to show you that this works here. This is basically what I was showing you. All the different ways in which different markets where you can have AFV, true AFV based fair valuation and true synthetic equivalent. That's all I'm showing you. So I'm extending the topic. So you're correct in feeling that it's the same idea, but I'm actually extending the application to different market instrument combinations across asset classes here. Are you following? Now you're getting the point, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that you can do FX. So example here, like this one, okay? That, so example would be like synthetic market as an example here. Then put call parity. These are all examples of AFV. Okay, so then we gave FX cross rates also. Now we could have made the FX cross rates example more complicated by including bid offer prices, which we did not. Okay, to make it simple, to understand the concept, initially you would do it without bid offer spreads, but later on you can make it more complicated with bid offer spreads. But the concept is the same. We are just extending the concept to different other asset classes and market instrument combinations. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
so going through this very important concept of conversions and reversals. I didn't cover conversions and reversals, but you can just read up on it. But these, okay, so in the course of this, I did not get to conversions and reversals, but it's the same here. Okay, Yeah, after that comes conversions and reversals. Is you can just read up on it. Okay, these are also the same. It would have been the same idea. Basically, just new terms. Okay, for transactions which you have already done. Conversions means long underlying, short synthetic underlying, and reversal is the reverse of that. Okay, so these are just terms. So you have already done them, so there's no need to do them. Okay, and so this is basically it. All right.
Okay. And sir, in case of FX cross rates, like there is a complication of bid offer price, but sir, to make it simple, can we like model it in a simpler way, because it would be same every time. The spread would be different, but sir, mechanically we can calculate it, like we can calculate the difference, and we can use the equation to make it simple.
Yeah, but the additional problem that comes with bid offer spreads is that then you have to know which one to take, the bid or the offer. Because here, when we did the calculation, we just divided one by the other, but then there'll be additional complication because you will be looking at two prices. There'll be a bid and the offer. So if you do this example with bid offer spreads, that additionally tests your concept of uh, market makers and price takers, price makers and price takers, and the idea that if you're a price taker, you will have to deal on the price maker's bid. If you're selling, you'll have to sell on his bid. If you're buying, you have to buy on his offer. So that will reduce. Yeah, you can always do it without bid offer spreads. And that's why I said, as I said, this discussion initially should be done assuming no bid offer spread, zero bid offer spread. But then to expand the concept, to improve the understanding, we should also do the exercise with bid offer spreads.
Yes, sir.
That's the idea. So, yeah. But there is a definite benefit from adding bid offer spreads. It will improve your understanding.
Okay. Okay, and sir, in like TWS, we can use the mid price option where it automatically calculates the mid price between bid and offer. So, sir, if we use that and we don't, extend this like this FX cross rate framework that you told us, if we don't extend it by you were saying that just now, na, ki, if you want to be a price taker or maker, so if we don't extend it like this and we use the mid price, so sir, can we do this? And sir, instead won't be, sir, there won't like if we do that, like if we use the mid price, won't be, would we be able to execute the order at a same time in TWS?
No, because in real life, you can never execute at mid price. In real life, the mid price example is only given to clarify the concept in a simple way. In real life, you will have to deal on bids and offers most of the time, unless somebody gives you a choice price. So in real life, you will have to deal on bids and offers. So you can't execute. The short answer to your question is no, you can't, because in real life, you always have to deal on bids and offers. You are seeing what you're doing in options. You saw what you did in spot equities. You were never able to sell on the offer. You were never able to buy on the bid, right? Unless
Yes, sir.
you put in your own bid, in which case you're the price maker. But as a price taker, you are always buying on the offer, selling on the bid. So in real life, you will
Yes, sir.
always have to do that if you are a price taker,
Yes, sir.
right? And to ensure that you get the deal, to ensure execution immediately, you will have to be a price taker, because if you put out a price and you become a price maker, you don't have any control over whether anybody will hit that price or not. So if you want to make a deal happen right now, if you want to execute the transaction right now, you will have to become a price taker, right?
Yes, sir. And sir, being a price taker translates to like we have to put a market order instead of a limit or any other type of order.
Correct. Basically, essentially, it means that you become a market. You put in a market order. That's what it means.
Yes.
Although
Okay, got it.
you see the bid and then you hit the bid, or you see the offer and you take the offer. But essentially, it's like you're trading at market. That's what it is. You're not able to set the price, but in a limit price, you would be deciding the price yourself.
Yes, sir.
You could also say that I'm looking at the market offer. The market offer is 95, and I'm giving a limit order to buy at 95. So you could also put it like that, but effectively, it's like trading at the market.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Although we don't say it's a market order, because you're actually see, these orders, market orders and all, are basically when you're placing the order and waiting for execution, whereas here you're directly executing yourself. So yeah, it is like effect is like a market order. The effect.
But sir, the execution is like we can only execute through an interface, and that happens through an order book only. So it will always be like that.
Yeah, the effect is like a market order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So take care, guys. I'll just close the. Did I stop sharing? Could you see the prices? Could you see the screen when I was talking?
Yes, sir. I can see buy USD slash.
Okay. You just see it, no? So I'll just. Yeah. Okay. So stop share is here. I'll stop sharing now, and I'll.